We will be continuing our demonstration on oil painting. I have been doing this for the past 2 weeks and we're going to try to finish this up today. I wanted to just hit a few highlights and the last few details on this painting. We have been working in oil. I've been talking about the fat over lean technique. I did a background of cadmium yellow medium, and I've been using my palette knife, fan brushes, etc. to get our techniques here in our painting. So I'm going to just try today just to kind of get some finishing touches, maybe on the bark, maybe in the sky, maybe on the ground here. And I'm kind of working intuitively, so thank you for your patience. I have my palette here that I've been using. I just covered it up with plastic, and I am still using that same paint from last time. So you can just use your same paint over and over again. I have my brushes here. I'm going to put some highlights in this bark of this tree. So I worked on the background a little bit. I used a fan brush. Where's my fan brush? Here's my fan brush. I used a fan brush for the trees, liner brush when I came back in with details for the trunks. So I think I want to take my palette knife and just work on some finishing touches in this trunk here, and maybe in the ground, and maybe in the sky. So I'm kind of working intuitively just to try to finish this up. So when you're doing highlights, you need to figure out where's your light source. In my tree here, I've got a lot of highlights in the foliage up here. I took some of that same cadmium yellow medium and used my 2-inch brush and just dab that on there. Well, let's just say the light source is coming from the front. I don't mind that. Or let's just say the sun is setting. You've got this nice glow in the background. Maybe some of the reflection of the sunset is filtering in onto the bark of the tree. So I want to take mostly maybe some of that yellow. Now this has been dry because I did the trunk 2 weeks ago. So this is dry to the touch, although it's probably not dry underneath. So I may need to reconstitute some of this brown. If anyone remembers, I made that brown with alizarin crimson, permanent alizarin crimson, and sap green. You can mix your browns using red and green or red, yellow, and blue. You can get a lighter brown by mixing cad red medium, cerulean blue maybe, and cadmium yellow light. That'll give you a lighter brown, but I wanted a darker brown here. So I think I am going to take some of the brown that I had from before, and it's pretty much dried because I used up most of the brown. So I'm going to start anew with my brown. I'm going to take my cadmium. No, I don't want cadmium. I want the permanent alizarin crimson. So the cadmium red medium is like a candy apple red almost. The permanent alizarin crimson is more of, let's show you, it's more of a beet red. It's like the color of beets. I don't know if you can see that. So you can start with equal parts of the permanent alizarin crimson and the sap green. If it's too red, add more green. If it's too green, add more red. So I'm going to move my palette knife aside, move my 2-inch brush aside. And here's my sap green. Sap green is like a, let's see, it's kind of like an army green, sort of like an olive green maybe. Not a Kelly or an emerald green. So I'm just squeezing it out, just like toothpaste over here on my tube in my place where I had the brown before. So I do know that when I mix this, it always, even if I do equal parts, it always tends to be a little bit more red than I would like. So you might want to go ahead and put out more green. So with mixing your paint, we talked about that. I'm just going to take my palette knife and I'm going to just smash it. I got a piece of dried paint from last time. Let me get that little flake off. All right, so I'm just going to smash it and mix it, just like I were blending peanut butter and jelly. Just smash it and mix it. I'm moving side to side, and I'm just mixing right there on the palette. Okay, so, and most of that is dry, but let's see, that's kind of, you can kind of tell if it's too, I think that's a good brown. It's not too brown. I mean, it's not too red. It's not too green. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the back just to wet this because it's dry and I want my highlights to kind of blend. So I'm just going to take the back of my palette knife and scoop some of that paint. And I got like a roll of paint on the back of my palette knife. So I'm going to start there. And I'm going to just reconstitute the trunk. No big deal. I'm just kind of putting wet paint where the dry paint is because I need for it to blend. Not for any other reason other than that. And I may need some more brown here and there, so I'll just wet it. And if I don't need it, it'll just dry and it'll be like the other brown, no big deal. Okay, so I want to take some of the cadmium yellow medium from the sky. Since I put that in the foliage, I want some of that in the bark. And I also want some white. Not a lot of white, but just a little bit, because white will be very overpowering, and so will black. So this is a very large tube of cadmium yellow medium. Cadmium yellow medium is a very expensive paint. It's twice as expensive as a color like titanium white. So if you get one of the smaller tubes like this, titanium white might be $5.99. Cadmium yellow medium might be same size, it might be $14.99, only because it's more expensive. So if you're buying your oil paint and you see some colors are more expensive than others, that's not a mistake. It's all about the pigment that it takes to make that color, and it's expensive. So only squeeze out what you need. In this case, I'm just going to use this for the highlights of that tree. So I just need a little bit right now. If I need more, okay, I'll put more on there a little bit later, but let's just start with a little bit. I'm going to go to a clean spot on my canvas. I'm just squeezing it out like toothpaste. No big deal. You're not missing much if I have it in my lap, but just to show you, I just squeezed a little bit right there. I have some old white right here, and I think up underneath there it's not dry, so I'm going to see if I can't reach up underneath there with my palette knife and see if it's, oh, yay. So what I did was, this is dry on the surface, but it's a big blob and it's not dry underneath. So I'm just going to like, look at that. That is totally not dry. So I'm going to use that paint because all I need is a little bit. All right, so I want to, let's get all the extra white off my palette knife because I don't need a lot of that. I want to start with the brown on the back of my palette knife, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of that yellow, just a little bit, guys. Start with a little bit and add more later because you don't know how much you need. So I've got like a little roll of paint on the back of my palette knife. And I want some white in there too, I think, but just a little bit, just a little bit. So I don't know if you can see that, but I started out with brown, I added the yellow, and I added the white. Now, I'm going to very lightly take my palette knife and just go across. I don't know what this is going to look like. I have an idea, but we'll see. But do it lightly first. So I'm just going to kind of slide across. And yes, that looks like bark. Okay? Now, I know right now I need more white because all that's yellow. It's like just yellow. I don't even see any of the white. Why? I don't know. Maybe because it's a little bit stiffer because it's a little bit dry. All right, so that's enough yellow. Let me come up here, though, because I want to bring that up. Oh, there's the white. I want to bring that up there into that long branch, that trunk that comes up here. That's too much white, but I'll come back in there. The white was on the tip. That's why it was not showing up. All right, let me make that a little bit more yellow. And then put some of that over there. So if you just kind of drag it and not smash it, it'll give you that texture of bark. You're not mixing, okay? You're just kind of dragging across. All right, I want just a hint of white. So I'm just going to scrape all, let me show you. If that's too much on the back, just find a place where you can just get off some extra and just smoosh it off. Now I want to pick up some of that white more in the middle now and not at the top. And I know already that's too much. But what can I do? I can just take that and just get a little bit off. And then come back in that spot if I need more. White, you got to be very careful. I wanted to mix a little bit, but I wanted like some sparkly highlights in that bark. So, and it's still not showing up. Okay, it's showing up a little bit. And the white is too white because there's no other white like that in this picture. So I thought it would work, but it's not working. So I might just take that. I'm not going to take it off. I'm going to add. Now is where you have to make decisions. You put something on there, you think it's going to work, and it doesn't work, so you got to make some decisions. Well, I think I'm going to try some red. And when I say red, not the beet color permanent alizarin crimson, let's do the cadmium red medium. Now, this is a beautiful color. It is a candy apple red. I'm going to put just a hint of that in my bark instead of the white. I'm going to leave the white that's on there, yes, so that all this stuff can kind of mix in there so it won't be so dark. But I'm just going to put one little dab of this cadmium red medium. And that's going to serve as my different color highlight besides the cadmium yellow. All right, let's try that. I'm going to take a little bit. Don't know what this is going to look like. We'll find out. Just to show you, I just put a little teeny dab right there. And I put it on the back of my knife. Let's see. And I mean, when I say lightly drag across, I mean, okay, I like that though. I like that. I mean, lightly drag across. So I might have to come back and clean up some of that edge over there because I went outside of the lines of my trunk, but you can go back in with a liner brush and fix that. Now I want some of that red up there. It needs to be continuous because this is the same tree. You shouldn't just have it in one spot. That's like against nature. Let's put a little bit there. Yes, I love that. And a little bit, I don't know, there, just a little bit. Okay, I like that. Now, I want to come across more, but I don't want so much red. So I need to take some of that red off. I want to come back in maybe when that red and that yellow starts to mix. It's giving me orange, and I like that. Let me get some of that yellow, and I'm going to spread it across my knife so that it's not just in one spot. I want a little piece of that yellow just to come over just a little bit more. That's too dark, that's too dark, that's too dark. Drag it across just a little bit. All right, I'm going to leave that alone. Now, let's go down to the base of the tree. Let's put a little bit down there. All right, I want some more, and I'm going to have to just go and fill that in with a little bit more brown, but let me get some brown now. Let's fix that. Let's fill that in. We don't know what this looks like. It's not perfect. And it could be some moss and stuff down there. Let's put a tad of yellow. I got a little bit of yellow on my back of my palette knife. Not enough, though. All right, let me pick up some more yellow. I'm just using the back of my palette knife. And if you have too much and you mash too hard, it's going to be too much. So I just want like a little dab. Just pretend like some of that foliage some of those leaves are falling down. Now, what am I going to do with this side? I don't know. What am I going to do with that side? I don't know. I could do like a little path. Let's just take the same colors that are on my knife here. And it has to be in perspective. So if you do a path, these trees are in the distance. This is the foreground. It has to be proportionally correct. So, and I'm looking in the reflection of my device here. I don't know. I'm going to come this way. All right, let's just give the illusion of a path. And I'm just using all this gunky paint that's still on my palette knife. And I'm just kind of sneaking in a little path there where one would be. And it's a little bit too white, so I still have some, that brown is dried up. So let me take some of this brown, not a lot, because I want that to show up. And just kind of make it disappear so that it's nondescript. So it's giving you the hint of a path. Does that look like a path? I don't know. It's hard for me to see. And this is why it's important for you to back away from your piece. I think it needs a little teeny speck of yellow, like the teeniest speck that you could possibly imagine. but in the space where I have to paint for my recording purposes. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to leave that there. Now, you know, I could do some rocks. Palette knives are really good for rocks. If you want to do rocks, you want to make sure you have a dark side and a light side. So, I don't know, let's make a rock somewhere here. Let's make, all right, so the light is on this side. So let's make, well, I'm going to put in the dark side here. And then I will add some of that light on that side. And I think I want a different color besides the tree colors because it needs to look, this is a rock versus a tree. So why don't I put some of that white in? It had some pinky tones in there, not too much. So I need to pick up some more. The consistency is different because that white is a little bit more dry than the new paint's fresh out of the tube. So it's not spreading as beautifully. It's not as viscous. So there we go. I like that little highlight, but I just totally got rid of it by accident. And we don't know. It could be, you know, moss, whatever. But there's a stumbling block down there. I want some darker over here so that you can see the reverse side of that rock. So let's get all the white off the back. Pick up some brown. More brown. If you start painting with a palette knife and getting good at it, you may never pick up a brush again. It's the most wonderful thing in the world. All right, so you're just kind of giving hints of stuff down there on the ground. You don't know what it is. It could be rocks. It could be leaves. Why don't I add a little bit more? I think I'll leave some more. Do I have any green left from last time? I think so. That white is a little bit too pink for me. And I don't really want a lot of yellow because I want it to look different from the trees because it's a rock. I guess it's a rock. It could be moss. And let's just... Okay, I'm going to need some yellow now because that's not working. Just a tad. And this could be reflection, you know. All right, there we go, just a tad. So I'm totally not blending. Like, I'm just tapping and giving the hint of something and giving it a feel of forest and nature. But yeah, so you want to make sure you back away from your painting. I need to work on a little bit of that ground there. Oh, I got some white. No, it's a paint flake. Hold on. That doesn't look right, so I'm just going to kind of fix that from last time. Need some more brown. Okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This is nature. It's far away. Okay, I'm okay with that. On this side, I think I'm going to take some brown and maybe look like some of that foliage has fallen down. I haven't used the brush yet. I'm just using my palette knife. Now, how high do I want to take that up? Let's just go ahead and take it up here since I made that mark. And then where I blended my highlight, I can just put that on there. So I'm going to take a little bit more of that yellow. Cadmium yellow medium and just kind of, I don't want it perfectly, I don't want it perfect. I want it to look, oh, I like that. I like that in my reflection. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that there. For some reason, I'm not feeling this rock. I think it needs some green down here. Let's put some green. I need some sap green. I'm gonna mix it with the brown that I already had, just to darken the green a little bit. I don't want it too green. So I'll just take a little spot over here. And there's no rhyme or reason. Some people are very organized with how they put their paint on the canvas, on the palette. And some people are not. As long as you know what you're doing and where everything is, that's good. Okay, if I put too much green, I'm gonna mix some green with that brown. Just a little bit. And I'm not gonna mix it perfectly. And let's see what that looks like. I don't know, I'm just kind of coming in here. Okay, I need more green. And now I'm gonna take, since you can't really see that, and my palette knife left a hard edge where I don't want it, so I'm just gonna dab that right on off. The green is too dark to be on top of the brown. I want you to be able to see the green, but I don't want it just popping off. If it were the same color as up here, that would be good. So I'm going to take a little bit of that yellow and mix it in with that green. And I'm just using my palette knife. Why am I doing this? I don't know, because it was just too brown. Let's make that look like a little piece of grass down there. Okay, that's not bad. I want a little bit more yellow. I just want you to see kind of a hint of something on the ground there. Is this grass poking through? What's going on here? All right, that's too much yellow. I'm going to take some off, and I'm going to mix what I got. All right, I want a little bit more yellow up there at the top. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And I want a line, not a... I need to just tap it on there. Okay. I want some more at the top, and then some of that at the bottom I'm going to take off. All right, I'm going to leave that alone. Now I'm going to come back in with some green right there because it got too yellow too far down. Why am I doing this? I don't know. I'm just making it look like something's down there on the ground. All right, I want more green there, and maybe just a little bit there. Maybe it looks like there's some moss growing or some leaves that have fallen. All right, that's too green. I'm sorry, that's too yellow, so I want some more green. I'm totally making this up as I go along. All right. And I can make this come down some instead of being so much in one spot. So I'm going to need to pick up just a little bit more of that yellow and make that green slow. If you want it to slide down, get more green on the bottom and then add yellow on the top. Okay. I want that to come this way a little. I'm just kind of pasting it on there. All right, that's not bad. I want some more over here by this, maybe it's supposed to be a trail. Let's see what that looks like, and let's bring it down to the bottom now. I'm on the edge here, so I might have to just kind of bring that on down to the bottom. And I want some more, just a little bit over here. Now I want to blend that in there, and then I might come back with a little bit of that yellow. The white worked a little bit, but not as well as I thought it would. So I want to blend this little area to look like the grass is running into this little trail, even if that's a trail or not. I'm going to take some of that white, brown, yellow mixture. It's just not even a color. I'm going to pick it up from wherever I cleaned my palette knife from before. And I'm just going to kind of just, okay, I like that. Just dab it in there like that. And I'm just going to leave it. Because your eye makes it be what your eye wants it to be. Trail, grass, moss, rock, leaves, bark, you know. And this is just a demo. This is not a masterpiece to go in the Louvre. Now, if it ends up in the Louvre, yay me. But you never know. I want just a teensy bit of yellow. I mean, just like the tiniest bit to look like the little grass is growing or the moss is growing or whatever this is. And I mean, when I say the teensiest bit of yellow, I'm talking about like that. You can't even see that line on there, but it's really, really small. Okay. All right. And that's like all I'm going to do. I'm going to like blend that a little bit because I don't want such a hard line. And I'm going to leave that alone. I'm totally going to leave that alone. So I can see it better when I get up and walk away from it. So now I think I want to maybe do just a couple of more. Some of those branches at the top need to pop out from when I took my 2-inch brush a couple of weeks ago and did all like that for the foliage. I need to go back in and make some of those. I need to go back in and make some of those branches stick out a little bit more. And when I say just a little bit, I mean just a little bit. So I'm going to find a brush that's a thicker round brush. And I'm going to put a little bit of my solvent on the brush. You're not using water with oils. Never, never, never water. You have to use solvent in the place of water. I'm going to wet my brush with the solvent. I don't need a lot. It should not be dripping because all I want is enough to make it viscous and enough for that paint to flow. And then remember I had some brown on my canvas from before. I'm going to just take some of that and let me show you what I'm doing. I put the extra solvent on my canvas, so now I got to get it off because it's going to drip. All right, so I just add a little bit of solvent on my brush, and some of that brown from before is still over here, so I'm just going to roll the paint. Roll the brush in the paint. And did I take up too much of that solvent? My solvent was down here. And I'm just going to roll it so that it mixes with solvent and into the brush, and so that it's enough to smoothly flow on the canvas. And I took off too much of the solvent, so I need a little dab more. You don't want it too wet, but you don't want it too dry. You got to find that happy medium of viscosity. So I'm just kind of taking that brown and I'm rolling. I'm just rolling to cover it all up. I'm mixing and covering up all the bristles at the same time, and I'm getting a point. All right, now this is dark, so be careful. I want to just come in here and I just want to kind of just make those branches just pop out a little bit more, because I covered them all up just a little bit. I mean, you're just giving hints. And that might be a little bit too dark, and it is. And so I'll show you how to fix that in a minute. I can get some of that excess off my brush. Maybe I want just a little bit right there. Oops. And I want a little bit right there. All right, I need some more paint. I took off too much. And I mean just like a teeny little bit right there. And maybe, just maybe, I mean the smallest little amount, like right here. I think. Where do I want that? Like right there. Kind of working from a reflection here. Okay. Now, if it's too dark, which some of that is, what can I do? I can take a paper towel and just find a little dry spot and wrap it around my finger and just kind of just dab. Just dab. I don't know. What does that look like? It's still too dark. All right, go to a cleaner piece and just dab. All right, now that's still too dark. So I'm gonna do what I did before with the 2-inch brush, but just not as much. So I'm gonna, remember I have some yellow still on my canvas. I'll just take just a little bit of yellow, just on the corner of that brush. And I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm gonna take my 2-inch brush and I'm gonna just dap it here. And I don't think I'm gonna have time to do clouds, but we will see. So I want to it was too dark and I want to fix that. So where was it too dark? I just want to just dab that over the top just a little bit. All I had to do was just a little bit. Okay. And I want to do some here, just a little bit. Just a little bit. You don't want it to be just so stark of a line. You just kind of want to make it disappear almost. Just a little bit. All right, that one's too dark. So just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. Now, maybe I do have time for clouds if I can do it in 5 minutes. if you were going to do clouds, it probably would have been best had you done it when you were doing that lean layer in the back. Well, I didn't do that. So maybe I can just kind of give me the hint of a cloud here. Remember, I still have the cadmium yellow medium on my canvas. So, on my palette. So I'm going to take my fan brush. I'm going to kind of reconstitute that area. I'm going to wet my fan brush with a little bit of solvent in the last little 5 minutes that we have. Just a little bit, like you don't want it dripping wet. And I'm going to just take that brush. All right, I'm going to just, that's nothing but cad yellow medium. Now, that's not enough solvent. I want it to blend, but I don't want it to run. So I need more solvent. Dab, dab, dab. Extra off. All right, just wet that with paint and solvent in whatever area. So if you are going back to add something that you didn't put, just go in the area wherever you were. And what am I going to do? I'm going to make some clouds real fast, like 2-minute clouds. So I'm going to take that same brush. I'm going to put some white on my brush. And fan brushes are best for trees and clouds. And I don't even know what I want to do. I want to have it, I don't know, let's have it go this way. So I'm going to use little circular motions on that wet. Oh, I love this, y'all. Just do the tops of the cloud. Just do just enough where you can see the cloud. Little circular motions. This is like my favorite thing in the world. And that's really all you have to do. And you just kind of blend that softly, not a lot. You're just giving the look of the clouds. Can y'all see that? It's so fun. Clouds are so fun. They're very, very calming. So I don't want to mess with that too much, but I just want to give just a hint of cloud. Blend that a little bit more. And that's it. And if you don't like it up underneath, take some of that cadmium yellow and blend it in a little bit more. And that's like totally it. Like, that's just it. Like, that's all you have to do. The most wonderful thing in the world. So that's my picture. That's my demo. Put some clouds over here on the side. And that's it.